All right, hi everyone, this is Evgeny again with you, and today we're continuing in our session where we are trying to build full-fledged web app using Spring Boot and Java without any single line written manually. So we're doing all this stuff using AI agents, and specifically we are using Cascade and Windsurf editor. So our goal of today's session is to introduce a persistence layer, and we will take for that Mongo database as our mechanism for persistent data. So, well, watch and enjoy. And by the way, during the session, finally we got this AI agent stuck with the Mongo stuff, so it was completely out of nowhere, and we had to stop it somewhere in the middle and help the agent to process the coding actually. So anyway, I hope you will enjoy it. Well, let's get started. All right, we are there. We are at feature/MongoDB persistence, and finally we are ready to start working on our changes for today. So first thing, we have to refactor our service layer. We have to separate and move some functions to persistence layer, like all these low-level data access functions, which has nothing to do with core domain business logic. So let's formulate the task here. So what we are interested in, that the code was separated, and now task repository contains all this stuff working with tasks on very low level. So we have dummy task, we have initialization, we are putting some task, but that's fine. Just let's accept everything. Let's check that it's still buildable. All right, since the project is buildable, we can say that this thing, no, not this one, sorry. Where's my to-do thing? So we can say that refactoring is done, right? It's interesting how cool is that and clever feature. I'll just take a look at that. Would you like to proceed with implementing the next to-do item? Okay, let me formulate my way how you would like to see this feature. And the reason why I'm trying to construct it this way, because I would like to have this independent component which can provide the list of loaded data from JSON to everyone interested. Because the idea in the future would be that once we have the real repository, not in memory, but the MongoDB one, we would ask the same component to provide all the tasks, and then we try to persist them in a real Mongo database. So that's why I would like to have this independent component. No, I don't want this. I would like to review it first. Who knows what you created, right? Dear Cascade. Alright, well, let's review the changes and let's start from, I think, from data generator. This is the one that generates us something. It's more or less the same structure. It's standalone Java application. It has main. We can run it even from console. Just take a look how clever is that. I changed the path because I didn't want to create another folder here. I decided to put my tasks JSON, and there they are, directly in the resource, but then task data provider should be updated, and it took the changes, it understood the problem, and then it decided on its own to update the task data provider to use the correct path. That's really awesome, I would say. And here we have it, a list of tasks, right, ID. It's not pretty well formatted. We can ask to format it in a different way, but let's keep it like that. That's enough for us. We have 500 different tasks created. They look like real ones because they're readable. They have some real stuff inside, real due date, and etc., 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 and some even tags. So let's keep it like that. And let's review what we have here. We have the data generator. We are not interested in it anymore, right? Because it finished its job already. We do have the tasks JSON. We are not going to run it again. So let's just accept all the changes from this file. Then we have task data provider. And this is a component from Spring. It reuses Lombok with logging, which is cool because I asked about that. And then it has tasks JSON, and after everything is initialized in the Spring context, that's why we have this post construct here, it loads all the tasks. And then it, okay, let me swap the windows. And then it creates, when you call gets task, it creates unmodifiable list. But what I don't understand, why can't it create unmodifiable or immutable list just from the beginning? Let's ask this question. And again, sorry. Now I'd like it better. We are using immutable list. So everything should be fine, right? I'm going to accept all the changes from this file. And then the only one that's missing is our in-memory task repository. So what do we have here? That's not important. Well, this is kind of the same thing, but two changes at the same time. Let's accept everything. We don't need dummy task, right? We don't need this initializing in the constructor anymore. Instead, we have task data provider, which is a Spring Bean. And here, okay, we have required our constructor, which means this bean will be initialized by Spring on a startup. So we can accept this part. And then we have this post construct annotation. And task data provider gets all the tasks. And okay, we're just copy pasting all the tasks from task data provider on startup. And for the saving, we start doing real things. See, like we are modifying our concurrent hash map. And this is our repository in memory, the actual one. And find by ID, we also searching by real ID, and removing also works fine. And here we do have some algorithm already that's working with real hash map. And then we're returning a page of results, and everything looks good so far. All right, let's accept all the changes. And for me, it seems like we finished the second task plan for today. Where is my to-do thing? But let's first do the usual stuff. Let's try to build it, test it, and then we can commit it again. All right, looks everything is okay. I don't want to trigger it here. I will be triggering only maybe a couple of GET requests. So let me ask for that. All right, sum means 8, right? Let's pick a couple of them and then we are happy with this item. So basic pagination, 10 tasks per page, and I'm going to trigger this in browser this time. And here you are, we have it. We can see the real response from server. And for example, let's pick something like search tasks containing API in name or description. And we do have update API, analyze API, refactor API here, and here. Okay, looks like it's working finally, right? All right, I like everything. Let's commit changes and then proceed with the third item. Ah, sorry, I'm in the chat mode. All right, I was in chat mode. That was the reason. It gave me hints, but didn't do anything useful. Okay. Let's give it a try. Another one. All right, what do we have here? Add task data generator to create a realistic test data. Add task data provider to load tasks from JSON, update in memory task repository to use generated data, and mark test data generation task as completed into tools. That's really nonsense. It notified this one, but that's amazing anyway. How should we start with introducing MongoDB? And in general, let's think about server. We even don't have MongoDB, right? How can we do this? And well, that's clear. This is Docker, right? As usual. And maybe I should already create a task for that. All right, let's give it a try first. We have a Docker container or Docker compose file here, which takes Mongo 6. We do have some credentials already as root and example. And we do have some storage for persisting our data. And it asks if we wanted to start the container. Let's give it a try. All right, we do have MongoDB up and running. We do have our service. So what could be our next step? I think it's time to introduce MongoDB to our project, finally. So let's formulate this task about that. And the very important thing, Why I'm saying that is because, again, I'm trying to apply every single change with a small step. It's possible to ask Cascade to create everything, like to fire a very raw command, like I would like to use MongoDB in the project, please do everything for me, including refactoring and introducing the repositories, but it's very error-prone approach. It's very hard to control all the changes that Cascade would generate for you. So we are trying to propose very small steps to gradually increase our complexity here. All right, what do we have? Let's take a look. We do have a MongoDB configuration, and I hope username and password are exactly the same from Docker Composer. But if it's not working, we just ping our cascade again, and we'll see. So I'm accepting all the changes here. Then we have, what's that? Ah, it's still Docker Composer. All right, it's a good one. And then we have Mongo config. So what's happening here? We have enabled Mongo repositories, and we're scanning packages starting from Task Manager repository, and then we have this get database name, and well, it's complaining on something. We will see if Cascade will be able to fix that. I'm just going to accept all the changes. And the last one, but the most important probably, it's our POM XML where we do have dependencies, and Spring Boot started data MongoDB is added. I think this is the only change, right? Okay. As usual, let's try to build project first. Okay, everything looks good so far. Before continue, let's commit the changes. All right, people, it's time to do a refactoring. And what's the goal? We do have a repository. Where is it? It's this one, in memory. And since we are going to introduce MongoDB support, we don't need this repository. Let's keep it, but let's create a new one specific for MongoDB. All right, it's ready. Let's check the changes. And let's start from the question, why do you have two repositories, Mongo Task repository and Mongo Task Spring Data repository? What are those? Okay, this one implements task repository. It's a repository, it's primary, so it's taken instead of in memory, that's clear. This one is reusing Mongo Task Spring Data repository, and for me that's nonsense. I don't see a reason why we have two different implementations. It's the same concern, right? And this is okay, this is a bit later. And we have this Mongo Task Spring Data repository. This extends Mongo repository from Spring Data, and I would like to merge those two. So let's give it a command. What was the name? It was Mongo, this one. Please do whatever you want. All right, we have Mongo Task repository, which extends Mongo repository and Task repository, which is correct. All right, override methods, and this can be. Okay, let's keep implementation aside for time being. Why this one is still here? It's interesting. Should I reject it? Let's do it this way. This one I'm going to reject. And then this one I'm accepting all the changes. And then we have task document, which defines a MongoDB collection with the name tasks. And we have primary key, and we have two mappers from our domain task to task document, which belongs to world of Mongo. And another converter we have to convert it back from Mongo object to our domain task. And then we have a lot of getters and setters. And why don't you reuse or utilize Lombok for that? I'm curious. Well, it still has two getters and setters. I would prefer data maybe instead. Okay, but the rest looks good, right? So let's accept it and try to build, run and validate. All right, there were some minor things. It's interesting. Probably takes some time, so Windsurf also realizes that everything is fine, but I'm accepting all the changes. I'm closing all the files, keeping just to-dos. Maybe there is a error, who knows. All right, we do have an issue here, looks like. What's that? It's not visible at all. Let's ping Cascade then. Well, a lot of important changes, but still doesn't work, right? Hehehe. Whew. We have a lot of stuff here. Task document. Okay, everything's duplicated. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, maybe let's give it a hint and see if it can process it, because it has nothing to do for me with MongoDB. Let's give it the whole stack trace. All right, maybe we should communicate where copy pasting. So let me start here. And break it here. Okay, so finally it's working. Let's add a couple of tasks. All right, another try. Okay, the first task was created. Let's give it a try here. And we do have it right. And if I would create another task, I also can see it here, a high priority task and a medium priority task for writing API documentation. Let's check it. We have a medium for writing API documentation and high priority for implement user authentication. That's nice. And if I go to reject. Okay, so here we have the two documents in Mongo collection. We can see that this is specific class tag to distinguish between different objects, and then we have properties and this special syntax underscore ID for identified ID of the document, and all the data is here. All right. Whew, that was a very long story, but I think we finished our third item, right? So let's commit the changes. All right, we have the last item and then we are ready to go. So let's quickly do it. It should not be so complicated as the previous task. Let me double check what we have here. The name was, what was that? It was task data provider, right? Okay. Okay, it was pretty fast. Let's take a look. What do we have here? This is kept in repository MongoDB. It's a component. It starts on application startup. It initializes other beans from the constructor using Lombok. Is seeded. Okay, it checks if our Mongo collection is empty. Then there is a possibility to seed them, and if not, it just skips. Database already seeded. Otherwise, it gets all the tasks. Okay, it's using also var from Lombok. That's interesting. And then it tries to convert the task to task document and save it using Mongo template. All right. What I don't like so much while we're using Mongo template. Mongo repository. All right, that was it. We are using now Mongo task repository. We do have this task data provider. We get all the tasks and then we are saving one by one using task repository. Looks good, right? And here, task repository count, if it's more than 0, if it's not empty, then we don't do the seeding. Otherwise, we run all this code. Okay, looks good so far. And let's accept all the changes. So in general, I would like to populate my Mongo database with all these 500 records. But this is the problem. Like if you see, we do have already something in database, so it's not empty, which means the seeding step will be skipped, right? So what we need here, let me start here. What we need to do, I think we have to clean up our database. So see, you see it here already. Database already seed it's keeping. Let's give a context. No, 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 no. I have a better idea. Let's test a different approach. No, 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 no. I have another idea. Yeah, right. Okay, what I like, it starts from scratch every single time. Like, let me check if we have any endpoints for bulk operations. Like, come on, we spent so much time working together on this code and you're still not sure if we have bulk operations or not. Whew. Okay, we are removing first one, 671. Okay, this one should be removed. And 76A1. This one, right? All right, let's verify. Okay, let's verify. I will do it as well. It's 0 available. Okay, no, thank you. I will do it by myself. All right, successfully seeded 500 tasks into MongoDB. Let's give it a try here. And we do have this in our Mongo database, and it's 500. All right, dear people, I would say we also finished this, the last item from our today's session. So let's finish it here as well. And finally, we are pushing all the changes to GitHub. Alright, that was it for today's session. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you learned something new how to communicate with AI agents, because today we tried a bit different approach. Instead of sending raw prompts, we're trying to be a bit more precise here. So anyway, thanks for watching till the end and I'll see you later. Bye bye.